Good evening, and welcome to the Dreary Midnight Podcast. My name is Lisa, my pronouns are she, they.
My name is Celeste, my pronouns are she, her.
And tonight is a Celeste-led episode. What are we talking about tonight?
Tonight we are doing Superstitions Part 2.
Superstitions Part 2, what do we got?
We've done this before.
We have been here before.
We have been here before. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite things to research.
Yeah.
Just because superstition is so prevalent in our day-to-day.
Yeah.
And I like dissecting it.
Yeah.
And I never realized how many superstitions we have until I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And then it'll mention another one. I'm like, oh yeah,
I've heard of that
too.
one. Yeah. Yeah. So what do we got this time?
Well, this time we have once again 4 superstitions. Just in case anybody's tuning in for the first time, I'll do a little refresher on what defines a superstition.
Yeah.
And if you are tuning in for the first time, I recommend that you pause this, go listen to our previous superstition episode, and then come back here.
Yeah.
But basically, superstition is a belief, half belief, or practice for which there appears to be no rational substance, and those who use the term imply that they have certain knowledge or superior evidence for their own scientific, philosophical, or religious convictions. One person's religion might be another person's
One person's religion is another superstition. Yeah.
But either way, it's something that you do that has no actual reasonable reason as to why you would do it, and yet people still do it anyway because of long-held beliefs. Last time we did knocking on wood, walking under a ladder, breaking a mirror, black cats.
Yes.
For examples.
All right. So what are we doing this time?
This time, so our first superstition that we're going to talk about is the lucky penny.
Okay.
So do you know the rhyme? See a penny, pick it up, all day long you'll have good luck.
Oh yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah. See a penny, pick it up, all day long you have good luck. Do you want to, similar to how we did last time, do you want to guess as to why?
This one I don't actually know.
Lucky? Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess that something copper, something face up, something luck.
That's pretty much the gist.
Okay. I guess I'm a good guesser.
Metal in general was regarded as very valuable by various ancient cultures. Mm-hmm. It was believed to be a gift from the gods, sent to protect those whom they favored. And metals were also believed to protect against evil and harmful spirits. So it was made of copper. There were some sources that said specifically copper had protective abilities. There were other sources that said it was just metal in general. And if you think about it, like, metal is used as a protection later on. Like, people use it for armor and weaponry and stuff like that.
Well, even
shields.
I'm just thinking about, like, iron's sometimes used against the Fae.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So metal was definitely seen as, like, especially when it wasn't in abundance, like it is nowadays.
Yeah.
It was definitely seen as a more, precious thing.
Yeah.
When culture started using coins as currency, basically the more coins you had, the wealthier you were, and therefore the more lucky. So if you're finding coins just in the middle of the street, that's obviously very lucky because you are acquiring money.
Yeah.
Nowadays, obviously the penny isn't worth as much as it would have been.
Yeah, and I mean, at least in the U.S., it costs more to produce a penny than its assigned value.
That's
it's
called
like 1.7 cents to make a penny that is assigned as 1 cent.
Here's my tangent on coins and why coins are better than paper money. Okay. Coinage used to actually be worth something. So the type of metal that the coin was made from was obviously, like, a silver was more valuable than a copper,
Yeah.
And not just that, but, like, the size of the coins
Yeah.
were also determined how much it was worth. So say a coin is the size of like a quarter or something, right?
Yeah.
And in order to pay, you might chop that quarter into like fourths.
Okay.
And then that little fourth of a quarter is obviously not as much worth as much as the full quarter, because say it's made of like silver or something.
Yeah.
A tiny little piece of silver is not as valuable as like 3/4 piece of silver.
Yeah.
But basically that's why they have like the names like sixpence and stuff like that, because they would cut up the coins and the value would be in the metal, in the actual metal. So if you're getting a whole gold coin, that's worth something.
Yeah.
That's worth something. As opposed to just like a tiny little piece of gold. Because the value was in the metal and how, abundant it was.
Mm.
Nowadays, with paper money, paper itself is not valuable.
Yeah.
Paper, it's just the number. It's basically just notes that we've given to each other as like an IOU sort of thing. Or like this is worth this many notes.
Mm.
But I like the idea of coinage because at least it made sense.
Yeah.
Nowadays, so nowadays coins are seen as invaluable, and it just, for the majority of human history, coins were the currency. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to like break up a quarter and be like, oh, you need 10 cents here. Instead of giving you a dime, I'm just going to give you a little piece of quarter.
Yep.
I don't know, but that's also why the coins are like different sizes and stuff, because they used to like have different values. Anyway.
Well, I did not know that.
The only reason I know that is because I follow Townsend's on YouTube, and they did a whole little mini documentary about coins.
That's great. That's
anyway,
so cool. Anyway, so that's
my Townsend's rant. That's my coins rant. So yeah, basically back to this. Obviously, coins were currency. The more coins you had, the wealthier you were. You find a coin on the street, you're more wealthy because you have a whole penny. Wow. People say that it could also be the origin of this see a penny, pick it up. There's apparently a pagan ritual that was see a pin and pick it up, and all day long you'll have good luck. And then this pin would be used in a good luck incantation.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That eventually evolved into being a penny instead of a pin, but both a pin and a penny are made of metal. So maybe it was a similar thing where like metal is valuable.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Other theories as to the origin of this superstition are rooted in practical magic. So if you discard a token of wealth, even a small one, the opportunities for financial gain will pass you by. If you don't pick up the coin, then you're going to have bad luck financially because you're not taking the opportunity
here's
for
your
making
opportunity
money.
right here. Yeah.
Have you heard of the superstition, like, don't put your purse on the floor?
Yeah.
It's similar to that.
Sort of thing,
like, you're not having respect for your money, and therefore your money isn't going to come to you.
Yeah.
Speaking of copper, well, because we're talking about metal, pennies are made mostly of copper, and this is actually a Venus metal. So to spurn a penny is to reject love and money in a single pass.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And we all know what happens when you piss off Aphrodite.
Seriously.
You start an international war.
So you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Technically, Aphrodite was the reason... The fine print was what started the war because they didn't think about like, oh, this is a woman who's married.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way, some people believe that different outcomes will occur if the penny is found either heads up or down. Cool. So if the penny is heads up, you can pick it up. It's a good luck. If it's tails up, it's apparently not good luck. So what you can do is you can pick it up and turn it over for the next person so that they'll see a penny that's heads up and they'll get good luck, and karma will help you out and give you good luck as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice. So that one's a pretty innocent one to start. No,
all right. How dark are we going?
We're not going too dark, but I'm saying like at least nobody dies.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I hope that answers your question. Yeah. And now if anybody asks you where the lucky penny comes from,
I'll know what to say. Anyway, so what's up next?
Superstition number 2.
Okay.
Hanging a horseshoe above your door. Do you know?
I think.
Why?
Is it connected to the iron situation?
That's part of it, yeah.
Okay. and I think it's either Irish or Jewish, or both.
Irish.
Irish.
As far as my sources could tell.
Yeah.
If I know what you're getting at.
You know, I think I was thinking of Passover or something where you put the
Oh,
blood.
yeah.
Lots of doorways and stuff.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Anyway, my guess is it's something to do with a magical horse or something.
I like that guess.
Yeah, because it's based out of actually the White Lady episode where white is very much like the death color, and a lot of Irish mythology is like death comes on a white horse. So,
God, man.
Anyway, so
Irish mythology is so
it's
cool.
wild. Yeah.
I wish I was Irish.
I can tell you so far, all it's led is for me, all it's led to is sunburn. So,
I'm sure my husband would agree with you. I have to slather him in sun. Well, I don't, but I make sure that he's slathered in sunscreen before we leave the house.
No, honestly, like, I should have put sunscreen on to do that 10-minute walk to Starbucks we just did.
I was vibing. I get all dark in the summer.
I mean,
great.
Okay, so the viewers can't see this, but Celeste
oh my God! It's so pale.
Yeah, so my arm is a solid 3 to 5 foundation shades darker than
that
my
looks
stomach.
like a different arm. Like, that looks like a different person's arm.
Right?
I don't know what mine is.
No, it's maybe 1 to 2 shades off, but like...
That's fair. In everyone's... well, I don't know. I do wear crop tops.
Yeah.
So my tummy
is
more... I'm wearing crop top right now.
Yeah.
So my tummy is more tanned than other people's.
Yeah. Anyway.
Either way. So, the oldest origins for the horseshoe, bringing luck, comes from ancient Europe, where the horseshoe's crescent shape represented various moon goddesses.
Okay.
Good, yeah, crescent, like the moon.
Yeah.
They were signs of protection, good luck, fertility, and could protect against a curse from the evil eye.
Cool.
Speaking of moon goddesses, there was one source that I read that noted that the vulval shape of the horseshoe, it could be an invocation of the moon goddess Diana and her sacred vulva, which I didn't know she had.
Same.
Power to her.
I guess so. And especially her vulva, I guess.
Her vulva is powerful. It's sacred, actually.
Oh my God.
The point is, the shape of the horseshoe is either looks like the moon or looks like a female genitalia, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
That was some of the earliest origins that people have found. Similar to pennies, metal was valuable and magical, and iron, as you alluded to earlier, it could withstand fire, which was like a big deal, and it was believed to ward off evil. Because it could withstand fire and it was a powerful metal, it could ward off evil spirits and fairies.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like evil fae. Which, bro, if we do an episode on fairies, that's when I'm going to be feral.
That is a brief allusion to last week when I went absolutely feral about
ancient Egypt.
Egypt. Yeah. Anyway.
That was your middle school hyperfixation. Yeah. Fairies is mine. I would literally go into the school computer and just type in, like, fairy. Yeah. And just look at images of fairies. Don't ask me why. It brought me joy.
Yeah.
Either way, if you don't want fairies, iron's the way to go.
Yeah.
Iron also apparently protected against witches. So during the Middle Ages, it was believed that witches had a fear of horses, especially their shoes, and that they rode on broomsticks instead of horses specifically for this reason.
Okay. I definitely heard a very different story about why they rode on brooms.
I'm sure this was just one region's story.
Yeah.
What's the story that you heard?
Is that because they're associated with Satan, that the broom is a sex organ. It's a sex organ episode,
We're going there this episode. I don't know. Don't use a broom.
Yeah.
That's splintery.
Yeah. Official Dreary Midnight Stands, don't use a broom for sex acts.
Yeah, no.
Don't use wood in general. That's not healthy. I'm not a professional sex anything, but
It just
that
doesn't seem
sound
nice.
fun.
It doesn't
Anyway.
seem nice. So, because witches were so afraid of horseshoes, apparently, suspected witches who were tried and not burned at the stake, but buried upon their deaths, had horseshoes nailed to their coffins to prevent them from returning to life or resurrecting again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep them in their coffin.
All right.
Now, the horseshoe was originally held in place with 7 iron nails. So horseshoes have 7 holes, and that's seen as a lucky number in some cultures.
Yeah.
And hanging a horseshoe over one's bed could prevent nightmares. The horseshoe is also used by sailors who nailed them to the foremast of their ships to ward off evil spirits from harming their ship's crew or preventing them from arriving at their destination safely. So making sure that they got to their destination safely.
Yeah.
And hanging a horseshoe outside of the home, barn, or store wards off evil and brings good luck. Now, there's debate on how to hang the horseshoe. Some regions say to put it in the U shape so that all the good luck is caught. And if it's turned upside down, the luck will pour out. But some people say that when it's an upside down U, the luck sprinkles onto people as they pass through the door.
Oh, cool.
So it's up to you. It's up to however you were raised. But how did hanging above the doors become popular? Well, according to legend, a blacksmith named Dunstan was working one day when the devil came into his shop. The devil either asked Dunstan to reshoe his horse or himself, sources vary, but either way, Dunstan recognized the devil and in a moment of trickery, nailed a horseshoe onto the devil's cloven hoof. Now, there's variations that say this was a red-hot horseshoe, which made it very painful. Or it was that he used long nails that went into the quick of the hoof.
Oh, yeah.
Which is also very painful.
Yeah.
Because in this variation, the devil has hooves.
Oh, yeah. And so, if I'm recalling my very limited knowledge of horse anatomy, most of the horse's hoof is the same material as a human fingernail. But if you go, it's a pretty thick area, but like if you go beyond that, it's almost like going underneath a human nail.
Exactly.
And so think about putting like a metal nail into the human nail, like that would hurt. Yeah.
Or that's why when you're like trimming dogs' nails, you have to be careful that you don't accidentally cut the quick of the nail.
Yeah.
So, either way, the devil was in major pain.
Yeah.
But Dunstan refused to take out the horseshoe off until the devil agreed to never enter a house that had a horseshoe hanging above it.
Oh, cool.
And that's where we get the legend. Also, Dunstan became the Archbishop of Canterbury in 959 AD.
Just casually.
And
remember the days when you could just casually become the Archbishop
of Canterbury? And he was then sainted. So he is now Saint Dunstan. And he...
For this or the bishop?
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say it's for this. Because I don't know. But I want to believe that he was like, yeah, I was a blacksmith. And I, made sure that the devil won't go into your house. And everyone was like, sainthood.
All right.
It reminds me of St. George, who
killed a dragon. Yeah.
I wonder how much of these stories...
I mean, what are the odds you just smacked a lizard upside the head? Anyway.
Oh my god. The first instance of a Komodo dragon in England.
Yeah. Which is impressive for a different reason. Anyway, so
that is the origin of why horseshoes are lucky.
Yeah.
Our third superstition is going to be
okay.
Do you know why spilling salt or, the throwing the shoulder thing? Do you know anything about that?
So I thought that throwing salt was warding the devil in some capacity. I don't know of a superstition about spilling salt. I just know that salt was very valuable at some point. So, yeah.
So basically the superstition is if you spill salt, that's seen as bad luck. And in order to get the bad luck off, you have to throw it over your left shoulder. Spilling salt, the actual spilling salt is seen as bad luck. The only thing is this actually has a caveat. Most of the bad luck things that we have is like, don't do that or it's gonna suck. But, with this one, it's like, don't do that unless you do this.
So at least there's a way out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a way out.
Yeah.
So, spilling salt was seen as bad luck. So first off, I would say that for most of human existence, salt was not readily available, and it was seen as a precious and a valuable commodity. So salt wasn't just used for flavor, although that was also very important, but it was also used for food preservation. Because this was long before refrigeration wasn't a thing until like the last couple centuries.
The last single century.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, and even then, it's not like it was a thing everywhere.
Yeah. So, like, just for context, I don't know the actual year that the refrigerator as we know it was invented, but
I mean, they had,
where
like,
we live, there's an
boxes.
ice.
Yeah. There's ice boxes, ice wells, but even then, those weren't like. That was just like architectural.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like they had any electricity to keep it refrigerated.
Yeah. So, in 1913 is when Fred W. Wolf invented the first home electric refrigerator, which featured a refrigeration unit on top of an icebox. Mass production of domestic refrigerators began in 1918.
Yeah.
So, like where we live, there was an ice house that was active through, I want to say, the 30s or so, because it wasn't widespread until after, like, World War I.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, back in the day, they would preserve food either by drying it out, like jerky and stuff, or by, salting it. Salted pork, salted fish, salted everything. So salt was seen as a very precious, and it was very valuable, especially in trading, where you're taking food, across the seas, and in inland societies where they might not be like in a coastal region that has a lot of salt available. So salt even became a form of currency.
Oh, is that where worth your salt came from?
Yes, it is. So the expression, it's not worth one salt, like it's not worth anything, you know, like the word salary also originates from sal, which is the Latin word for salt, also Spanish, but, Latin.
Cool. Well, I mean, Spanish is a Romance language.
Exactly.
So.
I was like, technically Latin came first.
Yeah.
So sal is a Latin word for salt, and possibly... Yeah, it's possibly the name for salary, or where we get salary, because Roman soldiers received salt as part of their compensation.
Cool.
Yeah. So, either way, spilling salt was seen as very wasteful, very careless, and kind of taboo.
Yeah.
And eventually, this spilling salt thing turned into like a warning that if you spill this, it will bring on bad luck.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like... it's basically like accidentally knocked over our finest, like, whiskey or something. It was like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Famously, Leonardo da Vinci referenced this superstition in his painting of the Last Supper.
Oh, is there salt knocked over?
There's a spilled salt cellar, and it's next to Judas Iscariot. And he is the one, who, for those who don't know, who eventually betrayed Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah, so apparently this superstition was around for a while.
Yeah.
Because it was seen as bad to spill salt. So the fact that Judas is spilling the salt kind of shows how bad it was.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the tangent for a tangent. My ADHD brain is going all over the place. Did you ever see that one TikTok where it's someone saying like, yeah, we hear about the miracles that Jesus did, but the real miracle was having 12 friends as an adult in his 30s. And someone stitches that and says, 11, technically.
Yes! The spilled salt superstition grew and evolved over centuries. If you spill salt, it might mean... this is basically like, if you spill salt, this is what might happen to you. Mm-hmm. So if you spill salt, it might have, like, mean a big fight. It might be the end of a friendship. It might be bad luck for the person. It might mean that the devil is invited to perform in evil deeds. Okay. And because of Da Vinci's painting and Judas spilling the spilled salt also became associated with dishonesty and treachery. So basically all bad things.
Yeah.
So why throw the salt? Well, a Christian belief was that good spirits, and I say was because I don't know how many people still believe this, but this is, old timies.
Yeah.
Good spirits reside on the right-hand side of God. Yeah, we believe that.
Yeah.
And the devil is on the left-hand side.
Oh.
So there's a belief that the devil is always just over your left shoulder, waiting to tempt you or to take your soul. Hey, do you know in like those movies where they have the little good angel and bad
the devil?
Yeah. Do you know which shoulder it's on? Is it always like the good one on this side and the...
I don't know. And the first one that's springing to mind
is Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
That's the first one that I was thinking of too. How accurate is Emperor's New Groove to Christian mythology?
Very little, given that it was spoofing Inca mythology. So,
Honestly, it's a great movie.
It's such a good movie.
I just rewatched it maybe, I think over the New Year. It was great.
It's such a memeable movie. Anyway,
so, since spilling salt is seen as an invitation to the devil, if you throw the salt with your right hand over your left shoulder, it'll go into the devil's eyes, leaving him blind and powerless.
Cool.
So, it has a caveat. Alternatively, and this is something that only one source said, but I thought was quite funny.
Yeah.
If you spill salt, you can cry. You can start to cry and make enough tears to dissolve the spilt salt. But depending on how much salt you spill...
That's a lot of crying.
You might be there for a while.
Yeah.
So...
Given the typical salt content for tears, like...
Anyway, seriously.
Okay.
All right,
last one?
Last one. And this one, you're probably going to know the origins of it. And I'm actually excited to get into some of the origins, but this is opening an umbrella indoors.
I think I know this one. And I think it's multifaceted.
Yes.
And I think it is also the reason why they were used for sun and not rain for the longest time, is that it's an insult to Apollo. Or some sort of sun god, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is my guess, and I am sticking to it.
Okay. I will say a sun god, but you will be happy to know that it was not Apollo.
Who was it?
So, some historians trace the origin to ancient Egypt. There are certain things, actually technically insulting too. Let me tell.
Yeah.
So, this is what I gathered. Nobility and religious leaders used umbrellas. They really used parasols.
Yeah.
To protect themselves not from the rain, but from the heat of the sun. So these parasols were thought to ward off spirits who might do them harm. And there was a belief that opening one indoors or even in the shade away from the sun's rays would offend Ra, the god of the sun. So that's why it's like, don't do that where there's not the sun. Yeah. That's an insult to the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ra's not going to keep looking out for you if you keep being mean to him.
Exactly.
Because ancient deities are nothing if not petty.
They are. Yeah. Ancient deities do be petty.
Yeah.
An additional belief. How do you pronounce her name?
Newt.
Yeah. Okay.
Daughter of sky and heavens.
Yes.
God of sky and heavens.
So there was an additional belief that you'd actually be insulting Newt because she was the goddess that enveloped the sky like a huge umbrella. And these beautiful man-made parasols, they were actually made with peacock feathers and papyrus. They're beautiful. And they represented the goddess.
Cool.
So, because of their religious significance, they were usually held only over the noble classes, and the shadow that surrounded the person underneath the parasol was considered very sacred. So, if somebody other than the nobility stepped on this space, it was considered sacrilegious. So, that's not exactly the origin, but it is kind of like a little preamble to, like, maybe they... I'll get to that in a bit. Yeah. The modern superstition likely stems from the 18th and 19th centuries. when waterproof umbrellas with metal spokes were popularized.
Okay.
Now, these umbrellas were very similar to the ones we have today, but they were very awkward to open. They're very large in size.
Yeah.
So the frame of the umbrella relied on sharp metal spokes that would spring open at the command of a stiff spring mechanism. So there was no, like, you know how nowadays you can kind of slowly open an umbrella and it slowly opens up?
Oh, but there's still a couple where you press a button and it's like...
It's basically like that for all of them.
Okay.
So, because
then
now...
press the button and kind of...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it was basically like no in between. It was either really tightly closed or it just sprung into action. Often with such force that it could cause injury to people.
Oh, so don't be in enclosed space on the wrong side of this thing. Yeah.
Don't try to, so you don't like accidentally poke someone in the eye with a metal spike.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
Not just that, not just causing injury to people, but it could also break any like fragile objects that might be around, like if you're in a house or a small space.
Yeah.
So think of like, I don't know, some fine china or a vase. That thing springs open.
Yeah.
And it's just onto the floor.
Yeah.
Shattered.
That makes sense.
Incidents like this could cause anger, arguments among family and friends, which was considered bad luck, or at least something to be avoided. And so this is why I'm like, maybe people tapped into that old legend of don't open an umbrella, and umbrellas are a sacred thing, and kind of sprinkle that into modern days.
Oh, yeah.
To kind of explain why you shouldn't open an umbrella indoors.
Yeah.
Now, some think that opening an umbrella indoors will upset a home's good spirits, and that these guardians of the home, who are otherwise protective, will cause misfortune to rain upon the family if an umbrella is opened in their presence. Not sure. I mean, it's a possibility. But it's interesting to note that apparently bad luck does not occur if the umbrella has first been opened outdoors and then brought in to dry.
Oh, so like if you come in from a rainy day, you can like close it inside and it's fine.
Exactly. It's just with the initial opening of an umbrella inside that's seen as bad luck.
Okay.
A couple more umbrella superstitions. It's bad luck if an umbrella is the color black.
Okay.
Sucks for most people, I think.
I think my primary umbrella is black, so you know.
Yeah. Apparently it's bad luck if it was given as a gift.
I've also been gifted an umbrella, so...
God, you just
and it's one of my favorite umbrellas. Well, it's a Raining Men umbrella I got in a white elephant.
It's Raining Men. Apparently it's bad luck if it has never been used outside in the rain, so try to use your umbrellas when you can.
Yeah.
If it's opened on a ship, or if it's dropped on the floor.
I have done at least one of those things.
Last but not least, I think we both know the superstition. If rain is predicted on any given day, take an umbrella with you and it won't rain.
Yeah.
If you leave the umbrella behind, it will definitely rain.
Well, I think there's a whole joke. Like, we have that exact superstition about a ghost coworker in particular.
Yeah.
Like, if he does have his umbrella, it's not gonna rain. And
but
if he doesn't, it's gonna
rain.
And so we...
No, that was good. I literally put in my notes that our coworkers always say, like, do you have an umbrella? Oh, I have an umbrella, so that means it's not gonna rain, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cute, like a cute little thing to end on. Like, oh yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
So those are this week's 4 superstitions. I also I still have enough for a part 3.
Well,
depending. I mean, these are easy episodes to do, and I enjoy them. Yeah,
and it feels like it's such an infinite source as well, because then you can get into like, well, it's a superstition in like, I don't know, sub-Saharan Africa in the year 1400 to do this.
Exactly.
You know, like you can get super specific, you know?
Because these are just superstitions that are popular, like, in the U.S. We're not even going into different countries.
Yeah. But, with all that said, if you have any suggestions on where to go next for a specific superstition episode, or if there's a superstition you want us to look into, send us an email, drearymidnightpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to donate to the show, patreon.com/drearymidnight. Follow us on Instagram @drearymidnightpod. Check out the blog that I'm going to try and update more regularly, which will also be linked in the show notes. And with all that that said, don't irritate Newt.
Don't irritate Newt. Or any ancient gods, really.
Any deity.
Just try to stay on the deity's good side.
Yeah, whichever side that may be.
And hopefully you'll be fine.
Yeah, and just in general, safe travels home on this dreary midnight. Good night.
Good night.